Okay, hi. I'm going to start by reading this article out loud. And what I'd like you to do is read along either on the screen or on the paper that's in front of you. Once you finish listening to the article and reading along with your eyes, then you're going to move on to these questions about the article below. So the article is called Think About What You Drink by Lynn Brunel. Your body is made up of about 65% water. Every day you lose water through sweating, breathing, and urinating. So every day you need to replace that fluid to keep your body running smoothly. A lot of the water you need comes from the foods you eat. Fruits and vegetables are mostly water, but you should also drink water for optimum health. So how much do you need? There are many factors to consider, such as your age, weight, and activity level. An average 110-pound kid needs about 2 liters of fluid a day, according to Dr. Maureen Koval, a family practitioner in Bainbridge Island, Washington. But that's all fluid from beverages and whatever food you eat. Drink to satisfy your thirst, and even more if you are exercising or if it's really hot outside. Big business. Bottled water is big business, about 100 billion annually and growing. Banking on the need for portable drinking water and promoting the idea of fresher, cleaner water, the bottled water industry has created a huge market. At a markup of as much as 1,000 times the cost of tap water, there is much money to be made. Bottled up. An investigation. Some people have questioned where bottled water companies actually get their water from. As a result, the Natural Resources Defense Council, an environmental group, conducted an investigation. In 1999, the group studied the water being sold by bottled water companies to investigate their water sources. The organization found that an estimated 25% or more of bottled water is really just tap water in a bottle. Clearly, that's not what many bottled water buyers think they're getting. If it says natural spring water on the label, it probably comes from a groundwater source, but these days up to 40% of bottled water is simply repackaged tap water, says John Stewart, national organizer of Think Outside the Bottle campaign. Annoyed to learn of that practice? You're not alone. Bottled water tastes good and it's convenient, but the idea of companies packaging tap water and selling it back to me just bugs me, says Kate S., 17, of Colorado. Stewart's group wants the practice of repackaging tap water to change. We're working to get major bottlers of water to state clearly on their labels where their water comes from, he says, and those efforts are making a difference. Grassroots actions such as petitions, call-in days, and letter writing campaigns have put pressure on large bottled water companies. The response has been good. Now, more labels are clear about where the water actually comes from. Also, it has become more difficult for bottled water companies to mislead the public. Is plastic so fantastic? A lot of oil and energy go into every bottle of water. Huge amounts of energy are used to produce the bottles and package the water. Those bottles are shipped hundreds of miles from the bottling companies to the stores, and transporting them burns even more oil. Safety concerns also exist. Although the chemicals used to make the bottles are safe, toxins can leak into the water if the bottles are exposed to extreme heat or cold. Recent studies show that chemicals called phthalates, which may disrupt hormones, can seep into bottled water from the plastic container. Not much is known yet about the potential health risks, but you may be getting more than you bargained for when you drink from a plastic bottle. What happens to the plastic after you drink the water? The good news is that plastic is recyclable. The bad news is that not all bottles are recycled. Less than 20% get recycled, said Stewart. More than 4 billion pounds of plastic end up in landfills and along the roadside every year. The big drip. The Federal Food and Drug Administration, FDA, sets standards for bottled water, and the Environmental Protection Agency sets standards for public water supplies. but their rules aren't the same. As a result, there can be a big difference in how bottled water and tap water compare in terms of safety. Tap water comes from reservoirs and is tested for contaminants hundreds of times a month, says Stewart. Public water systems also have annual reports available so you can check on the health of your local tap water. Less than 1% of the FDA's time and resources is spent on regulating bottled water, so many of the companies are left to police themselves. Chemical additives. Does your tap water taste funny? Public water can have small amounts of good or not so good chemicals that can change the taste. Chlorine is added in many public water systems to kill germs, but it can leave an aftertaste. Another chemical, fluoride, may be added to public water because it is helpful in preventing tooth decay. Not all chemicals are intentionally put in, though. Pipes can shed lead or rust. In certain parts of the country, runoff from nearby farms can taint the water. A good filter can help. Tabletop pitchers with charcoal filters can absorb and remove chemicals and leave the tap water tasting fresh. Other filters placed directly on the tap can remove chemicals and small particles before they pass through the faucet. Tapping in. So the next time you're thirsty, drink up, but think about what you drink. We're not saying bottled water shouldn't exist, said Stewart. In emergency situations, it's great, but clean drinking water is a human right and a public good, one you shouldn't have to pay so much for. If only bottled water is available, drinking it is okay. Staying healthy is important, but if you have a choice, reaching for a glass or finding a fountain may make a big difference for the planet. Just ask Isaac G., 14, of Washington. He says, I drink both tap and bottled water, but I choose tap water whenever I can. It just makes more sense for me and for the environment. Drinking water is one of the healthiest things you can do for your body. There's no argument about that. But what to drink? Bottled water is everywhere. However, even though the labels and commercials tell you that this or that brand of water is the purest, is it really better for you? Is drinking bottled water better for the environment? Tap water may be better for the environment, and it certainly is cheaper. But is tap water really clean and healthy? Thirsty yet? Here are a few things to think about the next time you need a drink. Do the math. Tap water is cheap. Bottled water, not so much. A half-liter bottle costs about $1 on average, so that's $2 a liter. At approximately 3.8 liters in a gallon, you're up to about $7.60. That's roughly 3 times the cost of a gallon of gas. When you buy bottled water, the cost isn't in the water, which is tap water in many cases, but in the packaging, the shipping, the marketing, and the profit to the company bottling it. Do you think the convenience of bottled water is worth the price? Okay, you finished reading the article with me, and now you can shut off this computer and start working on these questions.